What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the third and final mixtape by Dirt Gang of Slim Duncan's group as far as this fair is going to happen. Basically, this product is called Welcome to Jurassic Park. Basically, this mixtape is called Welcome to Jurassic Park, and it came out in the summer of 2012. Now, the thing about this particular product here is it's very truncated within the pitch. It's not a bad product whatsoever. I recommend every single song on this particular album, minus the intro as far as this fair is going to happen. And there's over 20 songs on here, so you get 21 songs filled with mixtape drill in its prime as far as this pitch can happen. But that comes with like a crutch and an asterisk. Moreover, not so much a crutch in terms of quality, but this is the pitch. The ringleader of this particular product here, Slim Duncan, was deceased before this album came out, and I want to say, for the most part, I don't know how much he full-bound worked on this particular product and got towards it, but he's really only on 2 songs on here. He has a couple other ad-libs on a few songs besides that, maybe like an intro that he helps out with, but for the most part, the real last Dirt Gang product that he managed to put out was Down South Dynasty from the fall of 2011, which is some excellent type pitch. That's a definite classic. Recommend every single song on there. Vicious type appeal. Just some excellent type appeal with what goes along with it. But this particular album, just complete home run here. Just had to say, just completely knocked out of the park. Just sailingly gone. Just within pitches like that. Just had to say, this is the viciousness. They really mastered like the particular style that Waka Flocka and Slim Duncan and Day Day and some of these type of folks, Debo, some of these particular type of folks were kind of doing around this time. Just the aspect, other folks within those pitches, within those conducts. Just being able to say the folks that the sound that they were kind of honing together back in 2010, 2011 is really getting to the point where I pretty much would have to say, had Slim Duncan lived longer, I think there definitely would have been some Slim Duncan albums that probably would have happened late 2012, early 2013. I probably would have said right on the heels of that probably would have been a Dirt Gang album within the pitch. Would have been some real blistering type appeal, would have been excellent type fare. Waka Flocka is on this project a couple of times within some of those type pitches. I like the aspect of getting him back in his hungry kind of grip from the Flocka Valley days. Is because the concept that Triple F Life was a classic as far as those fairs that happened. I gave that album a 10 out of 10 as well back in 2024, but it's just the pitch as far as saying that the singles were kind of seen as more commercial, and just the aspect that he just didn't have like the drill singles like he did in Flocka Valley days, like Hard in the Paint, No, Let's Do It, some of those type ones. But it is an excellent blistering type project. Definitely recommend Triple F Life, but discontinue that fare throughout the summer of 2012. So some excellent type pitches, just kind of like a nice epitaph of that. Not to say epitaph in terms like there isn't more of it, but just kind of the pitch as far as saying like the denouement to the particular type sound that Slim Duncan and Dirt Gang were trying to flesh out here. I really think this could have morphed into like a lot more vicious type concepts, and there were further folks definitely within the concept, folks like Just Rich Gates, Day Day, D Dash, some of those type folks. Debo, as he's known, he goes by D Dash on this product, but folks like some of these type folks on here, some of these other ones, J Mike and other folks like that. Some new cats on here like Diego and folks like that, some of those particular type fairs. Just being able to say it's just the concept of this particular sound, it really feels like I think the concept of what mixtape drill probably would have morphed into would have been pretty harnessed, and just overall I just think within the concept definitely getting songs like Hard in the Paint and Offsides, Hard in the Paint by Waka Flocka, Offsides by Slim Duncan, some of those type songs. When you think of Lights On by Slim Duncan, some of those type fairs that were huge in 2011, late 2010, some of those particular type fairs, just the aspect behind it, I think we probably would have gotten dozens upon dozens more hit songs just within that aspect. Definitely would have been pretty vicious because the sound is just carnivorous. Just the real aspect that these are blitzers here. And another thing about this particular product that was starting to meld out was paying attention to Future sounds. So Future was a pioneer of trap music, just kind of a newcomer within the pitch of 2010 that was starting to really flesh out things and get those hits back to back. And this particular product starts to meld some of that particular song. Doesn't do it on every single one, but has the pitch where I think the Slim Duncan, Waka Flocka type sound would have eventually melded with Future's kind of trap type sound that he was helping to helm with the Pluto album from 2012, and then eventually like what was going to morph into Instagram and kind of more IG mid 2010s type, more Instagram kind of mid 2010s type. More Instagram kind of mid 2010s type sharp than the pitch behind it. It's just kind of the concept that I was starting to do that. There's some ones on here that have like that relative kind of pop appeal that Future was getting to, and that was kind of the aspect that Future did with his Streets Callin'. That's kind of the aspect that Future kind of did with this Streets Callin' mixtape from late 2011 when Slim Duncan was still alive. It was just the aspect as far as saying that some of these type ones were starting to get these makeshift type moments, and the more pop type ones. There's some ones on here, I'm trying to think of which particular one they were. Like at least like the song Round particularly does that. There's another one on here I can't remember. Other songs like Get It All and some more kind of some type formats that have like the early initial type formats that what Future was trying to do with Streets Calling and Pluto, some of those type albums as things started to focus on trap becoming more pop and not necessarily pop full bound, but just more makeshift and radio friendly within the pitch. It was just the attempt of getting towards that. But obviously the format of Dirt Gang doing, I don't think within the pitch that they would have lost their edge. It's just the way that they particularly did it just has the gothic type vibe of just having like drill in that particular format, which is an interesting concept that didn't really flesh out that well. There's at least one song on here that kind of attempts to do that. I forget which one it is, but yeah, I think the song that particularly melds like a more pop rap type style with like mixtape drill, some of those type formats, those trying to blend those particular sounds would be What I Want, some of those type pitches. So there's some good hooks on this particular album, some good pitches on here. There is at least one kind of pop-ish kind of song in the song Mind as far as those fairs can happen, but it just has more kind of stardom type appeals within the pitch than what was expected on here. But this is a pretty murky type album within the pitch as far as those fairs can happen. Definitely the murkiness factor about it. This is pretty, just the grease behind it, just the aspect like the tone, being able to get these shrill type numbers on here. I think this would have been a pretty beastly type one, especially had Slim Duncan worked on this product more with the aspect behind it. I just look after it. I think the viciousness type of the appeal that was going to happen with it would have been a pretty capped off thing to kind of have gotten within the aspect, just getting to like some feralness. This kind of aspect as far as saying, I think this would have been a pretty blitz. I think this product, while it is a classic, just be able to say that once again, I recommend every single song off this product, was just kind of the tone as far as saying that I think it probably could have been even more carnivorous, because I think, the problem with like when an originator of a sound kind of passes on but doesn't get to finish what they're working on, you don't really get to see their vision about what particularly happens. That's the same thing that happened with Pop Smoke. He was ushering in like some new era kind of 2020s drill, and he passed on before completing his album, and as a result, no one really knew the ideas that he was going to have had he worked on it months later. I mean, if you die when you're only 15 or 30%, most people can't wing it trying to figure out what you're going to do with it. And it's kind of the pitch where the thing about like Down South Dynasty was just the pitch that particular album or that particular mixtape came out in October 2011, pretty much just 2 months before Slim Duncan passed. So it's kind of within the pitch. I think there were probably rounds that they worked on this product a little bit when Slim Duncan was live, but it just didn't seem like he worked on it very much. He was concentrating on other mixtapes around that time because a lot of them were coming out. Those were blockaded one after the other in like the last few months of 2011. So it's within pitch parts. I think this probably would have came out, if I had to guess, if Slim Duncan had been alive in 2012, probably April, May of 2012, somewhere in those type pitches. I think there would have been another one of those within those fairs. But either way, it's a blitzing kind of classic here. Just to be able to say that, just the aspects. So just to talk about these, because I recommend every single song, I give this product a 10 out of 10. But just looking after here, it would probably take a good 40 some odd minutes to talk about all 21 of these songs with descriptions. So I'm just going to talk about 12 of them within these pitches. The 12 songs I'm going to talk about with descriptions would be No Ski Mask, Rambo, Me, Myself, and Irene, Charlie Sheen, Danny Glover, Ain't Bullshittin', My Little Friend, Hit 'Em, Round, That's Bangin', This One, and Young Nigga. So talk about these. Most of these have like the particular blockaded type of appeal. I picked these particular drill type ones that take it back to the format of like the classic drill type format of like the early 2010s as far as those fairs going to happen. The early 2010s type fair as far as those fairs going to happen. Just the pitch of like Flockavelli days and Menace to Society days. Flockavelli by Waka Flocka, Menace to Society by Slim Duncan. Some of those type fairs are like the pitch behind it. It's kind of the after effect of like the pitch as far as those fairs going to have. So I just look within the tone. So it's just, when I say that this sound is particularly viciously fleshed out, just understand the concept. It's just basically like getting Flockavelli or Menace to Society or like Down South Dynasty on steroids. It has the radio appeal. These are casual. These are not quite as gritty within the aspect. Don't have as much kind of like more rugged. It is rugged within a sense. It does have the rugged appeal, but these are just more where it's starting to get melded to the point where it just has more casual appeal, where it's starting to be more above ground with the pitch. I definitely think this is probably what would have happened in 2012, but yeah, so No Ski Mask is a real nice one here. It's like a syrupy kind of hypnotic dark trap. No Ski Mask, like a syrupy kind of hypnotic dark trap product, kind of get here just revved up. Now I had to say here, just reminds me of like Future Boil as far as this pitch going to happen. So No Ski Mask is just like a typical kind of Future Boiler from 2011 as far as those fairs going to happen. Some of those type ones you think about when you think of songs like Same Damn Time and like Tony Montana. Not quite as full bound syrupy as Tony Montana, but within the same relative type format of it. I say Ain't Bullshit is a real standout here. It's like a classic kind of early 2010s mixtape Flockavelli-like banger within the pitch behind it. This vicious kind of Live by the Gun type vibes within the pitch behind it. So very similar to Live by the Gun by Waka Flocka, some of those type pitches within the aspect behind it. This real nice blitzing type appeal. And these folks on here, I do feel like Dirt Gang, the aspect behind it, they really sharpened like the concept, like they really sharpened like the concept, like the appeal as far as those fairs going to happen. Rambo is a quality one on here as well. Definitely like this particular one. Rambo is a song that has Waka Flocka Flame on here back in his Flockavelli days and Salute Me or Shoot Me days. It's like a brooding kind of night weaving. It's like a brooding kind of night weaving to kind of get here. Just more passive aggressive kind of blood pumper within the pitch behind it. Just some snack run type tunes and good tokish type song within the pitch. So it's kind of within the product of it. I mean, it's just the ferociousness of this particular album. It has the smoking songs on here, but it's just kind of the factoid that it just has in a more emphatic type sense. It's just a very banner type one. I'd have to say this is probably like the standout of all the Dirt Gang products here. This is the best one. I feel like the last one is the best one in terms of these pitches. Even though Down South Dynasty was pretty vicious, I'd say this one just has a little bit more blitzing type of feel. The only thing this project's really missing is just more Slim Dunkin as far as those fairs can happen. But in terms of like the production fair, the songs they chose, the execution, the template, all this stuff, the topics, the way that they handle these particular songs, just kind of the aspect that this particularly has to be one of the most vicious Datpiff mixtapes in terms of that appeal. And this is just a nice one. But this one, just more passive aggressive, like I was saying, just kind of more in between, just in the fashion, just kind of more thought provoking. This drill, but it's just not the normal kind of stand on couches type. And it's just a little bit more kind of chill type. It's chill for drill music, I'd say. It's just kind of the concept. Me, Myself, and Irene's quality ones, like a ghostly and trill kind of drill basking, kind of get within the tone behind it. Just typical kind of crazy. And I'd have to say here, just some heavy slam within the pitch. So basically, just getting a drill song with like a little bit of horrorcore mixed in within the conduct of it. It's a very ghastly and a gas type product within the tone as far as those pairs can have. This just some further type aspects. A good song that has one of the few songs that has Slim Dunkin on here, but this is a real thorough type one. Is Charlie Sheen. This like a swirling kind of majestically sadistic kind of typical trap oozing kind of get within the aspect here. Just some real radio ready gloss as far as those fairs can have. So this is something, I think this is basically like Slim Dunkin's Menace to Society on steroids as far as those fairs can have. And I think this sort of appeal would have been the stuff that had Slim Dunkin. If you'll notice, Slim Dunkin did not really put out solo projects after like 2010, so he was probably getting ready to work on one. I don't know what the name would have been as far as those first can happen, but would have been some excellent aspects. He put out a series of Dirt Gang products and some collabo mixtapes, some of those type of appeals, but this is the aspect of probably something that Slim Dunkin was going to get back to on his solo tip when that happened. He probably would have put some solo projects out in 2012 and then eventually put out like an album as far as those first can happen. Gucci Mane probably would have thrown him on an album, and then that would have been it. That would have been the product of it as far as those fairs. But this is like a good, excellent aspect, kind of get some of that type of feel. This real sadistic, this real terrifying type one within the pitch behind it. I definitely have to say here, another real Slim Dunkin standout. Another real Slim Dunkin standout. That's a vicious type one within the aspect is My Little Friend. It's like a vintage Slim Dunkin to kind of get to Menace to Society days. I'd say very similar to songs like I Gotta Eat and Bugatti. I'm a Bugatti. Some of those type pitches, some of those particular type ones, just standard type bangers. Like there's another one on there like Twitter That. Some of those type pitches, some of those particular type bangers off those particular days. It's an easy kind of slammer within the pitch behind it. So it's excellent within the pitch. It's a real treat to like the aspect of just seeing the viciousness of this appeal. I think with Slim Dunkin around the pitch behind it, I could have really wondered what some of these type of songs would have within the pitch behind it. But it's just kind of the excellence of particularly doing it. So the song Round is a nice one. Now this particular song does not denote who's actually on it, but it is an excellent pitch to get this one here. It's like amidst like the evening scene, kind of work shift wrap up to kind of get within the aspects. This particular song reminds of like Future. This particular song reminds of like 2011 Future with like some This particular song reminds of like 2011 Future with like some drill mixed in as far as what's going to happen. So between this particular song between this particular song Round and then another one on here that's also like, I forget which one I was saying earlier. I think it was What I Want, one of those type ones, or I forget which particular one, but the one I was talking about earlier is just some good type pitches. So a lot of these particular mixtape hits are just pretty interchangeable within the pitch. Like Round is a quality one. Round is a quality one just for like some makeshift kind of horrorcore drill within the aspects of good type tone. Just the pitch of like the meldings of trap music going with a more makeshift kind of pop friendly type format. I mean, it's definitely a haunting song, but it's a good aspect kind of get that direction. Some songs like Hit 'em is a pretty gnarled type one. It's like a basic and splitting kind of loud pack, I'd have to say here. To stock kind of Dirt Gang and Brick Squad banger kind of get within those aspects. Definite Goliath as far as those first going to happen. Just some of these, this are hit after hit here. Another one that's like that would be this one. This like a gothic and haunting kind of after effect noise kind of get within those pitches. This one definitely gives 3-6 Mafia kind of vibes about it, and this like some trap bang as far as those first going to happen. So just the pitch. So another one that's just like this one is Young Nigga. This like a Young Nigga is like a heroin and haunting kind of night weaving kind of get within the aspects here. Just snack run definitely within some of these type pitches. Just some gothic gab with homeboys as far as those first going to happen. So just the product like the same it's the product of like some social type fare within the pitch of just night weavings. It's the product of like some social night type fare, Taco Bell runs, some of those particular type pitches, just checks mix, splitting up some swishers, some of those type fares, just the standard gab PlayStation type music within a mild type sense. This pitch like that, just the aspect of like some good night products, some that type fare, good type pitch. That's Bangin' is a nice one as well. It's like a sparkly kind of night scene stunt. That's Bangin' is like a sparkly kind of night scene stun out to kind of get within those fares behind it. Just a nostalgic kind of show out type music within the tone. Just definite for like some pizzazz pull up type music within the fashion. Just having like some glitz and like the Datpiff type days from 2010, 2011. Just vintage kind of Waka Flocka, Slim Duncan type vibes, Brick Squad, some of those type folks within the pitch, Dirt Gang, some of those type fares. This is a definite Datpiff hitter as far as those first have. So this should really take back those particular vibes. Just nails the aspect about it. Real good type appeals. Danny Glover's a nice one here. It's like a glissy kind of dance club pizzazz kind of get within the aspects of it. Just coming up for air, I'd have to say within the pitch, and just more pop type appeal, a little bit more pizzazz about it. Something that reminds me of something that French Montana would have done like the early 2010s. Just a little bit more pizzazz about it, a little bit more glamorous. It's like a get crunk in like a starry kind of city snap as far as those pitch kind of happen. So this is more amidst like the dance venue. A lot of these are just more amidst like the product of neighborhood type outs within pitches like that. It just takes it real back. It's like the Flockavelli. It just really takes it back to like the Flockavelli kind of night weaving and pitches like that. Just going neighborhood type crawls, pitches like that. Hell Swishers and Taco Bell in like the night air as far as those pitches can happen. Homies type dap, some of those type pitches within the tone behind it. But there are a few moments like that relative type pizzazz. If you're looking for songs by like Slim Duncan, like I would say like Swisher, that would seem like nightclub kind of bangers and Grove Street Party, some of those type pitches for house. There's not a ton of house party type moments on here. It's just more, and there's really not as much like stunt type music. It really is just amidst the product of just kind of being ghostly within the aspect of just night residential weaving as far as those first can have, which is excellent type pitch. There is a little bit of stunt type pizzazz on here, not as full bound. Probably I'd say My Little Friend, and maybe That's Banging, some of those type of ones, but it's not like there's any problem with those particular type fares. It's not like there's a problem with that conduct of it, but I'd have to say, so I think I talked about every song on here as far as those first can happen. So just the pitch as far as saying, so yeah, this mixtape gets a 10 out of 10. To talk about some of these other ones on here, there's some other type ones, like Debo really comes through on this product. He was not on like Down South Dynasty is full bound much, and he wasn't really on the first Dirt Gang album either, the new NWA project as far as those first happened. He was kind of more off the wayside, but he really comes through for this product. He has a certain aspect of hunger, bite, and just overall ferocity, picking up the pace for Slim Duncan's absence as far as those pitches can happen. So I like D-Dash on here, Devo as far as those pitches gonna happen. J Mike and Day Day are also on here. This is New Cat Diego, who's pretty good within the pitches behind it, some good type tones. Song Double Up is a real nice standout for Debo as far as those pitches can happen. I want to say that was on like his 2013 mixtape. I want to say that was a hit of his that he held on to. It's pretty good club glitz, his pitches like that. It's one of those social type ones within a little bit more aspects similar to Danny Glover. There's some ones on here, some extra type ones I'll talk about. Like, I do like the song Mine. I like the kind of malaise that particular one. Just kind of in like some pop kind of jurors, something that you'd expect from like someone like Jennifer Hudson, something like that. So it's a good aspect there. And there's some ones that do like the rock rap kind of appeal and like a trap and drill type sense of YNS is a good type pitch. Kind of get that one here. And then like Hungry is a pretty nice one. That's just some haunting typeness. So let's say some more is like a good mixtape. And say some more is like a kind of in-between kind of mixtape trap type one within the pitch as far as those formats kind of happen. Just a little bit of pop trap within the pitch. So good type tone, just in-between type moments for Bellas. So it's just within the pitch as far as saying. So some good type ones on here. 10 out of 10. The social score I'll probably give. I'm going to go ahead and give the social score a 10 out of 10 as well. It's just the pitch as far as saying this is one that may not have the full bound kind of notoriety. I don't know how many downloads it got on Datpiff. Probably like a good 50,000 somewhere in there, maybe 100,000 in certain senses. Slim Duncan was pretty large back in those days. He was starting to really blow up on that particular scene. So it's just within the pitch as far as saying this had the particular appeal, had the glitz songs, like I said, this very neighborhood bound within the fashion behind it. Just the aspect of getting towards a lot of these. Just if you're in the mood for Taco Bell and KFC type runs, pitches like that, some Arby's runs, some of those type pitches is the conduct and night weaving, getting hella swishers, night weaving, some of that particular type of appeal. picking up big liars, that particular aspect. Not to say there's any problem with that pitch. Definitely has the glamour. Just pretty extensive disc mixtape drill, and just the overall product is like the ferocious kind of night bite as far as those aspects going to happen. Just the product disc, like a more kind of mixtape drill type version of 3-6 Mafia type sound within the pitch. Just the hauntedness is real off the chain as pitches like that, and it does have some pretty melded radio type sounds as they were starting to flesh that out to get that more appeal. So yeah, I'd say 10. Real only weakness towards it is this: there wasn't a single, which mixtapes were starting to chart around this time, so there's no excuse for there not being a single. And probably Slim Duncan, which is not as much of a Nash because Slim Duncan had passed, was just kind of pitch that it's too bad he wasn't on here more. But within pitch, I did like Waka Flocka being on here a couple of times, and the rest of the group with Dirt Gang does this pretty well, so it's a good type pitch. So in terms of future, like the unfortunate thing is Dirt Gang has dissolved as far as this pitch can happen. But most of these members continue to drop projects, which I'm going to start getting to later on. But this is the last one. I reviewed all 3 of these, so I'll probably make like a Dirt Gang playlist as far as those first going to happen, so you can watch all 3 of these pitches like that. And I just would have to say on top of that I'll probably throw some Slim Duncan or other folks' projects in there as far as those first going to happen. But this last one completed this stuff. Dirt Gang has classics across the board. I think I gave every one of these products like a 10 out of 10, but at least 2 out of 3 of them got a 10 out of 10. So some blistering type of feel. Fuck with this. It's definitely worth the investment.